relationship with my mother has been a little bit difficult, but it's been very rewarding in terms of how I've developed as a person. Like if I didn't have that kind of relationship with my mom, I would have a different perspective on life in general. But overall, I think me and her have a unconventional, but our relationship works. It's good. My maternal grandma, she was always more like a very close friend. She was never like a authority figure really for me. When I was little, I was always with her. There's nothing that I can't tell her. She'll never judge me. She had an image of what she wanted her daughter to be like before my mom was even born. So when my mom was growing up, she didn't fit that idea. And my grandma kind of made her feel a little bit inadequate. And so because of that, I guess my mom didn't really trust her because my grandma wasn't giving her an environment where my mom could be praised for what she was good at or her ideas or who she was as an individual. It drove her to like isolate herself from her mom, and it evolved in a way where they just didn't address it. My mom moved out of the country and they just kind of forgot about it. And now they're nice to each other and they get along really well, but mostly just because my grandma's really old. So my mom understands that there's no point to hash anything out. My mom and I don't fight as much as we used to, but when we did fight a lot, it was because she just didn't really understand why I was doing the things that I was doing, and because I wasn't fitting her idea that she had for the daughter that she wanted to have. And that really confused me because like, if you went through that, why wouldn't you be looking out for that? Even though I am completely different than how she was when she was growing up. And yeah, she just was, I didn't fit into the box that she wanted me to be in. And that's one of the patterns that I saw. I was like, well, your mom did this too. But then eventually, recently, she's kind of let it go. And also I stopped lying to her about who I am. So that also helped. I don't think the way that she is a grandma is in any way the way she was when she was a mother. Maybe, to some degree, she was still very like helicopter, like constantly making sure you're okay. She still does that with her grandkids. But I think she was very harsh as a mom, very judgmental. All of the enrichment that my grandma gave me, I would definitely apply to my kids. She was constantly trying to give me an experience, even on the smallest scale. She turned it into like a special experience for me. Any kind of like just going to the store, like she'd make up like huge storylines. My main thing that I would take from both of them is just I want to create an environment where my kids feel like they don't have to hide from me or keep a part of themselves from me because they're scared that I'm not gonna handle it well. But I also want them to respect me. I'm not with the whole like, oh, I want them to be my bestie. They don't have to be my bestie at first because they might not understand where I'm coming from when I'm trying to like discipline them. I'm not gonna hit my kids also. My mom and my grandma both hit their kids and I'm not gonna do that. If you hit your kids, that's totally cool though. Teach their own. But I'm not gonna do that. Before I judge them, I'm really gonna try to think about it first, even if it's something that's absurd and like objectively not okay. Like I'm gonna at least try to think about it, and I'm also gonna keep in mind natural consequences. There's so many things that parents try so hard to give consequences for where they don't need to, like for example, like staying up really late. If a kid never knows that they're gonna get in trouble for that and they keep staying up late, I feel like eventually they're gonna feel how bad it sucks to not have any energy the next day, and they're gonna learn naturally. Like if they get in huge trouble at school, that doesn't feel good. And now you're terrified to come home because you're gonna get in trouble from your parents. But like kids now that end up going to jail or, getting caught up with the police and they're terrified and they come home and they get all their stuff taken or their parents don't talk to them, like they're already getting punished enough by life itself. So I definitely want to keep that in mind. Like just because you're young doesn't mean you're not dealing with hard things. I guess I would just want them to know that if nobody else understands them, that I at least tried. Hopefully I am able to understand them and like really well, but I hope they know that because moms will sometimes say like, oh, I know you better than everybody else. And they might not to the fullest extent, but I want them to be like, when they feel they're somewhere else without me and they feel like nobody sees them or nobody sees who they really are as a person and they feel like they're not being heard or understood, at least they can be like, well, my mom knows the light that I shine. Because a lot of times we go places and that doesn't happen. Probably taking care of people whenever you can. I definitely learned from them going the extra step for people in your life. If you care about somebody, there's not many questions you have to ask yourself. You do anything that you can. If you find someone in your life that sees you, do anything for them. and keep your area, this is very material, but like keep your area as clean as you can all the time. It helps. There's so many like stressors in our lives, and our home should be, if anything, a place where you don't feel as many. And also be honest to the people that you care about, even if they're gonna hate it. That's the best thing you could do for someone, even if it sucks. My grandma and my mom are very honest with me.